Hello and welcome to the News by Standards. Leanne Francesca says her life has been transformed by the electric bike she started using during the pandemic. It's game-changing, claims the 31-year-old product manager who lives in Toronto, Canada. I wasn't a cyclist whatsoever before. Toronto isn't really a bike-friendly city, although it's getting better, but the pandemic meant it was empty of cars, and so I started biking a little. I now e-bike to see my friends to do my grocery shopping, and it enables me to arrive at the office non-sweaty. Surprisingly, the e-bike Miss Francesca is referring to isn't actually her own. Instead, she is one of a growing number of people on both sides of the Atlantic, renting their bikes long-term through a subscription model. Miss Francesca rents hers for 149 Canadian dollars, which is 112 US dollars or 91 pounds a month, through an e-bike rental company called Zig. For her, this generally means from March to October, pressing pause to avoid the harsh Canadian winter season when temperatures in Toronto can fall to below -30. Still, why rent? It's really expensive to buy an e-bike, she responds. They can be worth a few $1,000s, and I don't have the confidence to select which one to buy, and I'm not confident I could fix it if it went wrong. Instead, if anything stops working on her rented e-bike, then the hire firm repairs it. Over the past decade or so, we've seen a boom in short-term bike hire schemes as a way to navigate cities. First came docked bike systems, such as London Santander Cycles or Boris Bike scheme. These require you to remove a bike from a docking station and then return it to one. They were subsequently followed by bike and then e-bike and e-scooter hire schemes that did away with the need for the stations. Instead, you use an app to locate where the nearest bikes and scooters have been left at random spots on the nearby pavements by the previous users. Such has been the global growth of these dockless systems that they have long been criticised as a form of street litter. Putting aside this controversy, the business model of these street-side dockless and docked systems is that you hire the bike or scooter for a single journey, the half an hour or so that you need it for. By contrast, the new trend is that you hire a bike or e-bike for the long term by paying a monthly subscription fee. Zig Chief Executive Kevin McLaughlin launched the business in Toronto in 2020, followed by Vancouver last year. He now hopes to expand to other Canadian cities and across the US. In addition to serving members of the public, the firm also rents out the e-bikes to couriers and food delivery companies. The idea is to take an expensive asset worth around $4,000 and give that to someone for around 150 Canadian dollars a month, and we'll take care of the hassle. We are trying to provide a way to move forward when it comes to climate change and traffic safety and urban transport. It's more environmentally beneficial if more people use bikes instead of cars. In London, Jean-Michel Chalaya hires a bike long-term from BuzzBike. The 36-year-old uses it to pedal all across the capital, from his home to his office to meetings in the city and to his weekly football games. Mr. Chalaya estimates that he cycles up to 50 kilometers or 31 miles a week. The founder of mobile beauty app Le Salon pays for it via the UK-wide Cycle to Work scheme, whereby £20 is deducted from his monthly pay packet. My other bike was second-hand, and I got fed up of spending loads of money on maintenance all the time. Plus, I was never confident it wouldn't be stolen. This way, I get a really good bike, and I never stress too much about leaving it anywhere. If I have a problem with it, then I just message them, and they come around and fix it when it's convenient for me. One of the pioneers of long-term bike subscription is Dutch company Swap Fiets, which means Swap Bike. Launched in 2014, it now has 280,000 active users across 60 European cities, including Amsterdam, Vienna, and London. Rentals start from £16.90 a month for a one-speed standard bike and from £59.90 for an e-bike, which now accounts for about 15% of its subscriptions. Sustainability is an angle now, but when we started, what we really wanted to do was solve the problem of bike ownership, which can create hassle due to the need for bike repairs if it's not maintained, said Swap Fiet's co-founder Richard Berger. If we can't repair the bike on site, we'll give you another one to get you on your way again. Who is their target audience? We do see a lot of expats that just want access quick to a bike and then drop it back when no longer needed 6 to 12 months later, says Mr. Bolger, but we also have young professional students who hire for 3 or 4 years. It's not just adults who can join in long-term bike rental trend. London-based Bike Club is aimed at children aged from 4 to 12 and has 55,000 active members across the UK and Germany, where it recently launched. We realised that a kids subscription model made sense as they grow physically and need to have lots of different bikes, says co-founder Alexandra Rico Lloyd. When a family no longer needs a bike, they send it back and another family will get use of it. As it's serviced fully each time, it extends the lifespan of that bike. Bike Club offers 100 different styles of bike, which cost between £5 to £25 a month to rent. John Parkin, Professor of Transport Engineering at the University of West England, says the bike docking hire schemes helped enable the long-term subscription businesses to take off. This is because more people get used to both cycling and to using a bike that they didn't own. However, Professor Parkin, who is also Deputy Director of the University University's Centre for Transport and Society says a major challenge for the companies involved is the sheer capital expenditure of buying all the bikes in the first place. It's massive capital and it's burning capital, he says. I'm not sure where the profitability lies, as maintenance and moving them across cities is a massive cost, so keeping a lid on costs is probably a challenge for such companies. Zig's Mr. McLaughlin agrees it is difficult. It is a challenging time to grow a heavy assets business and raise capital, he says. As Zig and others in the sector are small private firms, they're not obliged to report their sales and profit figures. Still, the environmental benefits are huge. Professor Parkin adds any way of making cycling and cities more efficient rather than people moving around in big vehicles so they can get to their final destination easier is good news. Back in Toronto, Miss Francesca is looking forward to hiring her next bike once the Canadian winter is out the way. It's so much more convenient than going by car, and it feels nice riding through leafy neighbourhoods.